So, Minuet in G by Haydn. Big clue in the title. It's a minuet. It's 3 beats in the bar. So the first thing you might want to do is play it to your pupil and get them to clap in time and clap the first beat a little bit stronger. So they've then got the 3 beats in the bar. Explaining minuet to a 21st century child is not an easy thing to do, but on YouTube there are people who actually do minuets, recreate minuets in original costume. It's a fantastic thing to see because you can actually see the minuet being danced. One of the things you might like to explain to them is that the little quavers indicated in the music mean that you should actually play do little running steps in the minuet. And then at the end, you watch the minuet at the end. Being very formal dancers, at the end there would have been a bow and a curtsy. So it's probably a good idea, if you're playing a minuet, to just do a little slow it down at the end to indicate the bow and the curtsy. And that gets you thinking of the polite society and the way that people were in those days. Things to do before you actually play the piece. Spot and circle the left-hand octaves. There are quite a few. Get your pupil to spot them, circle them. There's also a dad, a D-A-D in the left hand in the bass clef. So that's always good. Once you've spotted a dad, life is easy. Warm-ups, easy peasy. Minuets is in G, so do your G major scales. The piece itself is forte and piano and with a crescendo, so you can practice the scales forte or piano or with a crescendo as they're going up. This teaches them the scale, but it also teaches them how to do the dynamic. Then all they've got to do is apply it to the actual piece. One of the more tricky techniques for this piece is to play detached. So I would say the best performances would have a detached left hand and some of the notes in the right hand as well. Detached is best learnt by looking at what it's not. So the left hand detached could be learnt by playing legato first. And then staccato. And then detached is in between. Always good to see what it's not, then you can work out what it actually is. If you're looking at the music as well as you go on, you probably notice there are some notes that are not in the key of G major. Having played the scales, they'll be familiar with this. There are some C sharps in there as it modulates to D major. So get your pupils to circle the notes that don't belong to the key of G major. It's worth learning a little bit about the composer as well. This will stand them in good stead in later years when they're doing their more advanced oral tests, but also now just to get a sense of the composer and their place in musical history. So send them away. If they're a younger pupil, get them to find out 3 interesting facts about Haydn. Interesting means nothing that's written here. So they may come back with tales of the Surprise Symphony or the Farewell or his visit to London, anything like that. So always gets their interest, engages it, makes the music real for them. There are a couple of interesting little techniques required where your fingers have to scrunch up. So we've got one of those in bar 3 and one in bar 7. So I would practice those on the lid. So 3 and 1, 4 and 2 for the quavers in the right hand of bar 3. Play them solidly together, so like this. And then practice them as they're written. That can be done on the lid as well. And then the same thing in bar 7. And then it comes again at the end. So you just get them used to doing that finger pattern of 3, 1, 4, 2, 3. So they can do that on the lid, really get the hang of it. Point out as well to pupils that it's in 2 halves. See if they can hear the 2 halves when you play it to them, so they'll hear. And then get them to mark in the A and the B. Always goes in better if they actually do the work rather than you doing the work. So we found out interesting things about Haydn, getting quite good at playing it now. There's a little bit so at the end of line 1 going into line 2 where the right hand thumb's got to go under. So it sounds like this, and it's got to crescendo. The words could be, my thumb goes under to make legato melodies. My thumb goes under to make legato melodies. That will remind them to keep that legato, and it'll help them get the 3-1-4-2 little bit in as well. The cadences are interesting as well, so worth just practicing those at different pitches and maybe memorising them. So maybe lower down. So low down takes on a different character. It's worth asking your pupils, does that sound like somebody in court shoes and with wigs doing a dance, or does it sound like something else? And of course the answer is, it sounds like an elephant, sounds like a bear, something like that. So securing it by doing that really helps, playing it different pitch. See if they can just memorise those little bars as well. So warm-ups can be scales, broken chords. We've got our theory, we've got our oral test, we've got everything that we need to learn this lovely little minuet by Joseph Haydn. So that's it. The end.